we've escaped the bottom five this week, people. That's right. In the Japanese rankings, Hungry Joker this week has escaped from being in the bottom five. So that's a good thing. Good news. Wanted to update you guys on that. Now, Hungry Joker chapter 18, it wasn't the best chapter. For the most part, it felt slow paced and it felt like they were aiming for comedy, but it wasn't too exciting or anything like that. It just felt like a overall slow chapter. But there was one important thing that I did enjoy about the chapter, and I did think was a good thing about the chapter, and that was mainly that Chitose might be getting a Eureka or Eureka. That's the big thing about this chapter that I felt as though was very important because like I've said the entire time, the least important character, the most I guess you could say useless character thus far has been Chitose, and she even says it. I want to be helpful. I want to do something. I want to help, and this here right here could possibly be the Eureka that is for her. Now it's a painting though, and that's the thing is like, how would that actually even work? Because for the most part, from what I see of this particular painting, or this particular Eureka, is that since it's a big painting, what the hell? She's gonna just say, "Hey, hold on, Heiji, I'm gonna grab this big painting and walk down there with you." So it's kind of weird. For the most part, I think that this is gonna be some type of maybe healing thing that she will have on her. I don't know if maybe it'll be like the brushes instead and not the actual canvas or something. Maybe taking the canvas and using. I don't know exactly how it'll work, but like it doesn't seem like a useful Eureka as far as battles go. It feels as though it would probably be something to do with healing because from what we learned is that there was some sort of like woman that used to use the paintings, and this guy was successful at doing blood transfusions. So I'd imagine this is going to be used for healing and not necessarily combat. Which I mean, I guess you need healing, but at the same time, it's like how would she carry this around? Like, is this just going to be at her place in the White Joker? Like, where is this painting going to stay at? So that's one thing that had me a little bit curious as far as the whole thing goes. And aside from that, it was mainly just like a bunch of jerks inside of this big voting room. Not voting. What do you call that? Auction where they were auctioning off the paintings and whatnot. And I found it like crazy that Haiji just threw all his money out the window just to get this painting. Yeah, it's important, but he could have showed a little restraint. And this chapter actually reminded me of some of the auctions that happened. And if any of you read or watch Hunter x Hunter, there was some auctions in there, so it kind of reminded me of that, except it was more comedic and not action flying everywhere. And also, I was a little disappointed that Vivi and Nils went back to White Joker. I was like hoping that they would be a part of this because, so we find out in this chapter that basically Maria Soldier, the dude, his Eureka is basically that he can X-ray, he can look through stuff. I think it's that rose that he had in his pocket, and basically I don't know, maybe he smells it and it gives him X-ray vision, or just having it next to him gives him X-ray vision. But it doesn't seem like he'd be all that useful in combat. I mean, he can give a good threat, but I don't know as far as like combat goes what he'd be able to do. So it's like, who do we really have for combat? We got Chitose can't do nothing, and if she even gets that Eureka, she probably still can't do nothing. This guy can do X-ray. We only really got Haiji. At least when we have Vivi, I was like, okay, we got Vivi. She could slice things up, and Nils. Now that we seen his Eureka, he could do some cool things. But now we lost two key players, and I was a little disappointed with that because I wanted to see them come along and do something, but unfortunately they stood behind, or they went back to White Joker. So a little disappointed with that. Hopefully some stuff kicks off soon, and we can see if this guy Maria Soldier can do anything. And towards the end of the chapter, it seemed as though somebody was approaching them. Maybe it's somebody that wants to get the Eureka as well. Maybe it's somebody, I don't know exactly who could that be, but that was interesting, I guess, as well. But for the most part of this chapter, in between, it felt very slow. A lot of like unnecessary jokes, a lot of unnecessary things like Chitose getting tossed around and pushed onto the ground and everything. Just really wasn't feeling it, honestly. I'd give this chapter 2.5 out of 5. It had some key things, but for the most part, it felt a little bit like one of those in-between chapters, like we need to throw something in there in between so we can get to the next scene. And wasn't the biggest fan of this. But overall, hopefully this Eureka, that, the paintings and whatnot, Chitose can get it, and it could be some sort of use in, upcoming missions and everything, because Chitose, she says it herself, she's not the most useful, and I want to see her be useful in some way or another, whether it be healing or whatever the case may be. So hopefully this does something and it becomes important, because otherwise this chapter was kind of whatever. But that's all I really have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up if you can't wait to see what's going to happen with this whole Eureka for Chitose. And keep on moving because, like, I want to get to, what's going to happen next, who's going to appear and everything. Because so far it seems as though every arc, like, a villain shows up and we keep it moving. And I'd imagine somebody's going to show up that wants this Eureka, and that's where the struggle is going to begin. So can't wait to see where this is going to go. Don't forget to vote for your favorite chapter of the week, what you thought was the best chapter of the week. And I'm from that world, and as always, people, have an awesome day.